You know, Angelina Jolie is one of the most fascinating figures in modern celebrity. She's a total paradox, and I think a lot of us feel like we know her story. But underneath all those headlines, there's a masterclass in strategy going on. So let's break down how she pulled it all off.
I mean, just look at this. On one hand, you have the icon of the 90s, the ultimate Hollywood rebel, literally wearing a vial of her husband's blood on the red carpet. And then you have this, a deeply respected global envoy addressing the UN Security Council. The shift is it's massive. Almost hard to believe it's the same person.
So the big question is, how on earth did that happen? Was this just a case of growing up in the public eye, or was there a real deliberate plan at work here? That's the question we're going to dig into.
To really get it, you have to go all the way back to the beginning, to the very foundation of her art. And it doesn't start with just, being a rebel for the sake of it. It starts with a super disciplined and frankly, kind of dangerous approach to acting.
So, the engine behind those explosive early performances was her total commitment to the Lee Strasberg method. Now, this isn't just about getting into character. No. This is about digging up your own real, painful, unresolved stuff, your trauma, and using that raw energy to fuel your performance. It's intense.
And this quote just nails it. Think about her Oscar-winning role in Girl, Interrupted. That's exactly what she was doing. She was performing what you could call a controlled demolition, taking all her own internal chaos and channeling it into this designated blast zone for her art.
Okay, so just as she's hitting the absolute peak of that raw indie darling credibility, she makes a hard pivot. I mean, a complete 180. She goes from these incredibly vulnerable roles to pure physical dominance, and it confused pretty much everyone.
And of course, the first thing everyone in the serious film world asked was this. Is she selling out? After all that raw artistic work, was she just cashing in her credibility for a giant blockbuster paycheck? From the outside, it sure looks like it.
But what if that was the wrong way to look at it entirely? What if this move wasn't about giving up on her ambitions, but was actually a super calculated strategy to achieve them? A power play, really. A way to acquire a different kind of capital.
And listen, she didn't just try it out. She went all in. She completely transformed herself into the defining action hero of the 21st century. We're talking mastering kickboxing, expert weapons handling. She became these physically dominant characters, from Lara Croft to Mrs. Smith.
And the result of that? Just staggering financial power. Mr. and Mrs. Smith alone made almost $500 million. Think about that. Suddenly, she was one of the most bankable, powerful stars on the entire planet.
And here's the key takeaway, the secret sauce to the whole thing. In the real world of Hollywood, artistic cred is great, but it doesn't get your difficult, important passion projects made. You know what does? Global box office clout. She wasn't selling out, she was banking leverage. She was getting the power she'd need for what came next.
Right, so this is the part of the story where she starts to spend that capital she worked so hard to build up. She uses that fame, that financial power, to make another huge pivot, this time stepping behind the camera and onto the world stage in a totally new way. Now, what's so important to understand is that these two things, being a filmmaker and being a diplomat, they didn't happen one after the other. They were happening at the same time. She actually started her fieldwork with the UN way back in 2001. For 2 decades, she built both careers in parallel, and each one totally informed the other.
And let's be clear, this was no celebrity vanity project. This was a deep, serious, long-term commitment. We are talking about over 60 field missions in 20 years, often in really, really dangerous places.
So that kind of begs the question, right? How does being Lara Croft, a blockbuster action star, actually prepare you for working in war zones and refugee camps? Well, the connection is way more direct than you might think.
Just think about the logistics for a second. Making a giant blockbuster means you're coordinating massive crews, you're dealing with incredibly complex international logistics, you're constantly assessing risks in tough environments. That is the exact same skill set you need to run a humanitarian field mission in an unstable country. She literally just transferred those skills from one arena to another.
And being out there, in the field, it changed her fundamentally. She had this realization that women with the exact same drive and ability as her were stuck in camps just because of where they were born, while she got to go make movies. It forged this core belief in her, a mission statement that has pretty much guided everything she's done since.
So when you pull back and look at the whole arc, this decades-long journey, what you see is a sovereign strategist who is playing the long game from the very beginning. Which brings us to one last, really provocative idea.
You can really see her whole career as 3 deliberate steps, like stepping stones. First, she mastered her internal world through that intense emotional excavation interacting. Second, she mastered the external world of physical dominance and commercial power. And third, she cashed in all that leverage to finally do the work that she truly believed in.
Which kind of leaves us with this final question to chew on. Is it possible that having this wild, rebellious, super public youth is actually an advantage? I mean, maybe when you've already had your flaws and your wild side put on blast for the entire world to see, you don't have to waste any energy pretending to be perfect. You can just get on with the real work.